Hey guys, how's it going? Laura with Garden Answer. Today I want to talk to you about fertilizing annuals because it's a big deal here at our house. We have a lot of annuals going on. I mean, you guys know we plant tons of containers, we plant a lot of them in the ground. It's what we do for part of our job. So fertilizing them is really important and it can take a lot of time. In fact, in one of our videos last year, and I can't even remember which one, I posed the question to you guys about how do you fertilize? If you do a lot of annuals at your house, how do you do it? Is there something I don't know about? Because I was still using a watering can with my little scoop of fertilizer and it was taking like 3 or 4 hours to fertilize every single week. In fact, I would skip some weeks because I just didn't have the time. And I didn't really know what I could use that was appropriate for our size of property, that kind of thing. So we actually were at Cultivate in Ohio last year, which is kind of an industry trade show. We were talking with Dram, Dram is a company that has my favorite watering wands. And we were telling them kind of our woes about fertilizing, and they said, you know what, we need to introduce you to Dosatron. So they took us over to that booth and kind of got us familiar, introduced us and got us familiar with what Dosatron is. And so that's what this video is about. I want to talk to you about what we've found out that works for us. I also want to go over a few fertilizers that I use that I have really good success with, and then also what I think would work for you guys based on how many annuals you have, how many containers, that sort of thing. So this is it. This is a Dosatron Lil Buddy. So this system right here is kind of a bridge between your water faucet and your hose. So you hook it in between the two and it helps facilitate fertilizer into your hose water so that you can water everything really quickly. And it's a really actually pretty simple concept, I think. So it's on a cart right here, which is nice. I mean, this whole system right here is very efficient and tidy looking, which I appreciate. But what happens is you've got this hose right here that you hook up to your faucet. The water goes in and through a filter because you don't want anything from your water getting up into the injector system, which is this right here. So the water goes through the filter into the injector here, and then there's a piston inside, and the pressure of the water forces the piston down. And then when that piston comes back up, it sucks up your fertilizer solution from this bucket. And then the water is forced through this hose, which is then attached to your regular garden hose. So you can just water to your heart's content and, as long as your fertilizer holds out. So Dosatron has a lot of different systems. In fact, you can get just specific parts that you want. Like if you just want the injector system, you could get that without the cart. This whole system, the whole thing right here, is called a Lil Buddy. But if you wanted to get this, fit it to your own cart with your own bucket, that sort of thing, you can do that. But I always appreciate when things are made specifically for a specific job. It all looks nice. In fact, there's a bungee that holds the bucket onto the cart really nicely. The model number on this one is D14MZ2. It's a 14 gallon per minute. And these are actually used a lot in growing facilities. I had no idea they even existed, and that's probably why they're not really usually at a home garden kind of level. But I know there are a lot of you guys who like to plant a ton of flowers. It's what we do. We don't spend money on anything else. I have shoes that are falling apart and I don't want to replace them because I would rather go buy a new tree than, buy new shoes. So, this kind of investment is huge. It's working so great for us. So let me show you the fertilizer I've been using in this system. This one is Proven Winners Premium Water Soluble Plant Food. This is in a 2.5 pound size. So what I do is I just pour this whole thing into the 5 gallon bucket, and then you fill up the bucket with warm water. So what I do is I just wheel this thing to a spot where I've got a hose sitting in the sun, and you guys know the water coming out for a little while is pretty hot. And so that fills the bucket and it helps dissolve the fertilizer and make a nice little slurry in that bucket. And then right here, you can set your percentage of fertilizer to water to whatever you want. So I've been doing this at a 2%, which is 2 out of 100, 2 parts fertilizer. I could be wrong on this. My plants so far are looking really good. So if you're a professional watching this and you know how to work this, let me know. But you guys, it'll be different for every single fertilizer you use. And I found that all the companies are super helpful. We actually had lots of emails out to different companies asking, what should we do? Because we've never used something like this and we want to make sure we're doing it properly and our plants are happy. So they're all very helpful to get you on the right track. Okay, so before I actually show you and demonstrate how this thing works, I wanted to go over a couple different fertilizers that I think that might work for you guys, especially if you're not at this scale, if you've just got a few containers, that sort of thing. Of course, this one is really great, and this one would last you forever if you only got just a few containers. I like it because it's got chelated iron in it. It keeps not only your plants blooming really good, but it keeps the foliage nice and dark green, and that's really important. I always use this one though in conjunction with a continuous release plant food. You guys might remember from other videos, I always pour some of this in when I'm planting. It's heat activated and it helps just like a slow release fertilizer to your plants. Annuals are heavy feeders, and the more you feed them, the better they perform. So I throw this in when I first plant, I still use this one on a weekly basis, and then I'll throw this in maybe 1 or 2 more times in the season, just on the top of the soil. Now, for those of you who just have maybe a few containers scattered around your garden by your front door, or for those of you who would like to stay more on the organic side, this is a really good one. This is a Spuma organic liquid bloom fertilizer. So it is liquid. I have used it on our property and have had really good success with it. For those of you who want a granulated option, a Spuma plant tone or flower tone work good. Both of them work equally as well, so whichever one you can find. And this is more of a soil amendment, so really good for big containers that you don't want to necessarily remove all the soil from every single year. Like, let's say you take the top half of soil out, and then you are left with the stuff at the bottom. You could throw some of this in and work it in, and that'll kind of recharge that soil that's at the bottom, which probably doesn't have any nutrients left because water leaches stuff out pretty quickly, and then you can top it off with fresh stuff. Spuma also has biotone. You might like recognize that name because I use it in almost every single video that we do, because I put it in every hole of everything I plant, and it just is amazing. You guys should see my vegetable garden right now. I amended all of the raised beds with biotone, and my vegetables are like nuts. I mean, I already have tomatoes, like fist-sized tomatoes, and we're not even at the end of May yet. So generally you'll see me either using a Spuma or Proven Winners fertilizers. They both work really, really well, and I do highly recommend either one of those brands. So now I'm gonna move all this stuff and get up and show you how the Dosatron works. So first I'm gonna take the lid off of the 5-gallon bucket. Then I'll pour my 2.5 pounds of water-soluble fertilizer in. Then I'll fill it up with water. Then I'll snap the lid back on. So now I'm going to attach the Dosatron to my faucet. You can see that I have part of a brass quick connect already attached to the system. Let me show you what it looks like. These allow you to quickly attach accessories to your hoses. They are a little under 20 bucks, completely worth the investment. They've revolutionized my life out here in the garden. So let me detach my hose first. Simple as that. And then it's attached. So now I need to attach the hose to the other side of the Dosatron, and we're good to go. So then I'm going to turn on the faucet, and when I activate my hose, you can hear the piston moving up and down inside there, that clicking sound, and that's what's drawing the fertilizer up out of the bucket and into the system. So now I can go water my annuals. The last thing I wanted to show you guys is that you can hook Dosatron up to an existing drip system. So if you have a drip running to containers or hay racks, that kind of thing, which we do, you can put this right in line and it'll feed it the fertilizer to everything. We installed a bunch of hay racks along one side of our fence line this year. So this is where it originates at this faucet. So that's where I hooked the Dosatron to. And then this is the drip line that runs to our basket. So I'm going to turn this on and we'll go check it out. So there it is, feeding my plants, and that water with the fertilizers just running all the way down the drip line, feeding all of these hay racks, and I'm not having to do it with a watering can by hand, which is awesome. So that's pretty much it. If nothing else, I hope this video was interesting to you guys, just to see what kind of different setups there are out there. I know that this system is not for everybody. You know, you may only have a few planters, or maybe you have something like this, or maybe you help with a city project or somewhere where this Dosatron type system would be really helpful. Maybe also this was just helpful for you guys to see what kind of fertilizers we use and what we have success with. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.